That could have been a 5-point game, Clark.
Fairbox got some great legs.
We're live, boys.
Dude, you just hate her because you love her.
Hey, we're live.
Oh,
Oh, well, hello. Welcome to another edition of Rent Money. Chisholm's a little out of sorts, as you can tell. I have a live mic over here. But this is going to be an awesome episode, a loaded episode, as we've said before. We got Texas Pete, Old Chisholm. We're going to do a little roundup on college football playoffs or championship and the playoffs. Talk about Texas Pete's cold streak over the weekend. And then also talk a little Notre Dame football. Old Chisholm. We also have a special guest. We got Sklark here from the podcast formerly known as the Box Out Boys to discuss Iowa State football, Matt Campbell's departure, their new hire. We also got some live news breaking while we're on the pod today with Sharon Moore. It's a full episode. There's a lot to get into, and we're gonna break it all down. I'll be honest. Old Chisholm said he was going to come with an ad today, but it sounds like he's out of commission right here. So we're just going to wheel and deal one here. Let's see. Go to the bank. See anybody that hasn't yet got a presenting sponsor read. That's right. We have a line up here, a line to get in the door at Rent Money. We're going to go with an old but a favorite, Jack Link's beef jerky. Open up your Sasquatch with Jack Link's beef jerky. Multiple flavors, always great for a car trip. Tender, delicious. I personally like the teriyaki one. Go online to jacklinks.com and take the Sasquatch test to see what kind of Sasquatch you would be with Jack Link's beef jerky. Woo! Hello and welcome back to another episode of Rent Money here. We're going to kick it off. We have a special guest, Clark, joining us, one of the most diehard Iowa State fans I know, to kind of just walk us through the psyche, the mindset of an Iowa State fan with Matt Campbell's departure, exodus, poaching. It's late in the cycle. At what point, I guess the first question I'll ask you is this, Clark. Matt Campbell's name came up early and often with a few coaching searches, but they seem to get put to bed. Penn State struck out a few times and they circled the block. Tell me through, at what point did you think that maybe Matt Campbell initially, if there was ever a chance of him leaving, at what point you thought, that's not going to happen? And then when you maybe started to have thoughts about the potential of him leaving Iowa State?
Yeah. First and foremost, I'd like to say thank you for having me on the pod. A pleasure to be on this distinguished podcast. I would say I never actually thought he was going to leave because I'm a delusional Iowa State fan. So when we saw it starting to pick up steam on Wednesday, that was when it got really concerning. And then obviously it came to a head Thursday, Friday. But with the job openings, it just didn't seem like anyone was really talking about him besides Josh Pate.
That college football commissioner, that fucking
guy. But so I never really felt like we were concerned. The Penn State job had always been one that he was interested in. We had heard Michigan, Penn State, Ohio State, but it just seemed like they had no interest in him. So we weren't worried about it.
So this last Friday, it's crazy. College football moves fast. This was the leading story. The next thing you know, we get a full week in a slate of games. Now, Sharon Moore is taking the headlines. It's easy to forget how quickly, the college football world moves in terms of news. But Friday morning, it starts to, kind of leak out that Campbell's interested in this job. He's been there for a decade now, obviously has led Iowa State to levels that, they've never been to as a program. When those reports first start leaking, just walk me through your mindset of, as a fan, and just kind of what's next.
Yeah. I mean, I'm in about 6 or 7 separate group chats with Iowa State fans that we probably need to condense. Yeah. Well, you know how it is. I'm the source guy. I've got people. I got my web.
You've created each one of these group chats. You're the commissioner of all 7.
You're the div of every group chat.
Yeah, it is. it really came to a head. A lot of what the fuck's going on.
Been there before.
Just some concerned text. It got to the point where we were going to Ben Wilson looking for updates from Tom Wilson.
Straight to the source.
I mean, we were doing just about everything we could. Somebody mentioned that they had a friend who was a good friend of Rocco's good friend. So we were trying to get feedback from there.
And I heard that guy was a good guy. To your credit.
Great guy. Great guy. It was a dark day, though. I had a 6-hour drive home. I think I pouted the entire way home. A few light poles looked like they needed my car wrapped around them. But it all came to a head quick, and it was really just shock and disbelief.
So you get home, you mentioned you had a ride, had the opportunity, the pleasure to get lunch with you that day. Knew better than to poke the bear when something's that raw and something as important as college football and Iowa State is to you. But your dad, he's a big fan. You get home. What's the guy in small town Iowa, rides for the Clones, season ticket holder? You go on Twitter and you see it's a cesspool at times, and the way people turn their back so quickly on a guy that served diligently for 10 years. What were his impressions of kind of just how the way this went down? Had he turned his back on Campbell, or was he appreciative of the good times?
He didn't turn his back on him. I did get home at about 11, so he was sound asleep when I returned home. He was a tired guy, long work week, blue collar,
a lot of pouting there that Friday, I'm sure.
But I made his acquaintance Saturday morning, bright and early, to get out and do a little hunting, and it was bleak. It was a bleak atmosphere. The vibes were bleak. My sister's boyfriend joined us, and he's an Oklahoma fan. So we didn't want to hear anything from him, really.
Yeah.
But it was bleak.
What's his name? Do you want to dox him quick?
No, he's a good guy. Shout out Chaz.
But
is his name Chaz or Chuck?
Chaz. His name's Chaz.
Chuck.
Yeah.
But it was bleak, and I feel terrible for my dad and for the older fans who this was really. I mean, I'm 28, so for 10 years of my life, I've seen success. We had spots with roads where it was like awesome, 7-5. Look at us go. But those guys waited 50 years for this shit, and it was here, and now it's gone in the blink of an eye. So I think I feel worse for my parents and my friends' parents. Our dads were all taking it pretty hard.
Yeah, I mean, it is tough. And from an outside looking in at the program, like when a coach leaves this late in the cycle, it's almost a death knell to the team, right? Like, what do we do now? Tell me a little bit about how you think about this hire. The guy that you got, I don't really know much about him. And what do you kind of like, what's your expectations for Clones football for the next 3 years?
And whose dad is taking it the hardest?
My buddy Luke Schmidt's dad is taking it the hardest.
Damn.
He had came up with an idea to maybe get our fraternity brothers from our fraternity across the country to pledge an allegiance to boycott ESPN and the Big Ten and the SEC. The feasibility of that seems a little. I don't know how we're gonna get that done. But
go to Notre Dame and they'll teach you how.
Notre Dame, future Big 12 member.
Big 10 more likely, but keep going.
Yeah. So I really like the hire. I think in this day and age to do something quick is the right move.
Actually?
I do. I don't have a choice.
God, you are delusional.
I don't have a choice. Do you not like the hire?
Just seemed like a guy with not a lot of experience. It seems like, I don't know if you've read the interviews, but Pollard has a weird fascination. The AD of Iowa State, Jimmy Pollard, has a weird fascination with this guy. Not really sure what that's about.
The Pollard stuff's weird. And I don't know.
Could it be the blood of Soros that runs through him?
It very well could be.
That's been a factor in the past. With him,
yeah.
though.
And I mean, on Friday, Saturday, people were really coming for Pollard's head.
Yeah.
There were some reports out there that he was controlling the NIL and what players got what, and that's been debunked.
Weather.
And the weather, too. I think he controls most of Ames. He's kind of like the mob there.
But he lives in Gilbert.
Sneaky.
They all live in Gilbert. Everyone's in Gilbert. What's going on in Gilbert, Iowa?
Sneaky.
Well, you obviously seem like
dude. Wait, hold on. Real quick, golf clap for Clark's laugh, man. Clark, you got a great laugh, dude.
You,
Hey,
You got a
thanks,
great
man.
laugh.
you seem like you're in a pretty good headspace right now, honestly,
Yeah,
from what I
I'm
was
proud of you.
expecting.
I'm proud of you.
Well,
What's the ceiling for the Clones the next 2 years, 3 years? Are you guys going to be able to reload? Like, is next year a wash?
Well, I'm happy you asked. And part of the reason I'm in such a good mood is that I have fully convinced myself that we are probably going to contend for the Big 12 title next year.
Are you not
Probably.
afraid of becoming Oregon State, Washington State? I know that's a fear that you lay your
I've
pretty head
expressed
to bed
that
at
fear
night.
to you, and I expressed that fear in confidence. Ooh, the sound effects are nice. That's an awful big fear of mine. I think it should be a big fear of everyone across college athletics right now.
You know
I don't.
what? Yeah,
That's a dark road.
it is a dark road. And it's also a dark road when you see, like, hey, even if we have a good year, like a BYU year, bowl games are becoming less relevant. Per Chisholm's University of Notre Dame, trying to ruin those
Yeah.
brick by brick. So, let's say you're a Big 12 school. You have one of your best seasons in program history, but you're still left on the outside looking in. And then now, the NDs of the world won't come and play you if you're BYU because they're just too proud. Pick up the ball and go home. So if you're a Big 12 fan, I can see why this is a fear, especially when you have teams like Notre Dame specifically that are just maybe too big for their bridges.
Yeah, I think you make a valid point there. I think the Big 12 gets a lot of disrespect, but I also think that a team like Notre Dame being afraid to play BYU is a good reflection for us as a conference that we really do know ball and play ball if teams don't want to play us.
Yeah, dude, I feel that. Well, give us your final thoughts. Maybe we got a good diverse listening base out there, but I would say it's a good chunk of Clones fans and a good chunk of Hawks fans. Maybe this is your moment now to just speak to Clones fans out there and express your feelings, and I'm sure they could probably resonate with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for the opportunity. Jimmy Rogers, I think he's going to be the guy. Big OC hire from the Lions, defensive-minded ball coach. I think we're going to retain almost everyone. I don't see a ton of guys going portaling. I think Rocco will be back next year. And quite frankly, with the culture that's in Ames and the mindset that we have as Iowa State fans, Iowa guys, blue-collar people, it is Big 12 championship or bust next year for us. The expectations remain the same. I would expect nothing less than a Big 12 championship bid and an at-large playoff bid. And that's just the standard that's set.
Okay, well, Jimmy Rogers has a lot to live up to for this Cyclone fan. I made note of this. We'll bring Clark back on at this time next year to reflect on that statement of the standard is the standard. One thing Iowa State does have going for them right now is men's college basketball. They look like an absolute wagon on the hardwoods. And if you're interested in college basketball, you can find Clark every week on the podcast formerly known as the Box Out Boys with his esteemed co-host Sky Beast. So give them a listen and check them out over there on the Pop Off Podcast Network. Clark, we're joining, and we look forward to seeing you next year this time to reflect on your statement around the standard in Ames. Give it up.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Have a good night.
Woo! Yeah. All right. 40 seconds left. Women's basketball here. Iowa State 72, Iowa 69. This is coming to you live. We got the ladies of the Cyclones under 75.5. Of course, we're rooting for the Hawks here. Oh my God. Well, Chisholm, is it just the two of us?
What happened?
Where'd Pete go?
He left. He's been in and out, man, all night. We're rolling with the punches. Let's see. Is there any messages from the live chat?
I got one. Clark's looking a little cute tonight. That was from a user named Tickle My Feet 22.
No way. They
Yeah.
love chiming in. Hey, what up, Tick?
Well, shit, dude. I thought Pete was gonna be here, but we got you trying to sabotage the podcast on
I
multiple
didn't do
levels.
shit. I
We got
haven't done
Pete not
shit.
showing up.
I haven't done shit. What do you want from me?
Well, I don't know.
I'm sitting here, man.
You hit the live button, and we just said this. Fuck it, this shit's live. So I don't know. I think we got a dump button.
You told me
Nowhere for us to go.
You told me to hit live like 7 minutes before that. I had that oven snafu, you know.
Oh man, dude, we got a good
But
use
it's
out
all
of our
good,
oven
man.
tonight. Chicken pot
Dude.
pie, Costco.
Woo! Stovers or just Kirkland?
It was
That's some
Kirkland.
Kirkland. Smoking
I
on that
gotta be
Kirkland
real,
guy.
dude. That is one of the best chicken pot pies I've ever had in my life.
You know what I'm saying? A little bit of that, and a whole lot of chicken pot pie, and the whole world would be a better place. I stand by that. Hear me out. That would be my platform as president. Once a week, everybody's got to get high, get with everybody you love, and you got to eat chicken pot pie. That's the only rule.
How do you feel about like the beef stroganoff style?
Dude, all right, so hear me out. I was at a real nice restaurant today for work, and they had a barbacoa stroganoff.
What is that? What is barbacoa? I order barbacoa
know.
and I don't always understand what it is.
I don't know.
All right. Well, we gave Pete a chance here. Loaded weekend of college football playoff. I keep saying that championship. Chisholm's addicted to the sound machine right now. Can't get enough of it.
I'm loving it over here, man. Do you know this one? All right, we'll copyright, you know.
Do you want to do college football playoff ranking talk, and then if Pete is able to
It's
join,
time, yeah, dude.
We can
I
talk
don't know what's going
conference
on with
championship
him.
games.
I'll step in where I need to. I feel like this should be both of you tearing me apart. So let's wait until here he is. But in the meantime, Mr. Running Back Jones, how was your weekend? Fill me in, man. How was your weekend?
My weekend? Let me tell you about it. It started on Friday.
All right.
As most weekends
That's
do.
The best weekends start on Thursdays, but when it's a Friday, it's still good.
I watched a movie with Ashton Kutcher on Friday night and Bernie Mac. Ashton Kutcher's dating Zoe Saldana. Yep. Little fish out of water. He comes back to Bernie Mac's family. They weren't expecting him to be the color of skin that he is. Ashton Kutcher.
Yeah, they were expecting dark meat. They got light meat.
Yeah, a little 2025 reverse racism going on in that movie, which is always fascinating.
Flip the script, yeah.
Ultimately, Bernie Mac has some trials and tribulations with his own, wife. 25 years of marriage, they're renewing his vows, but he can't get his eyes off Ashton Kutcher, right? Like, what is this honky tonky doing in my home?
Yeah, what's this
not what I was expecting.
Here? Yeah,
of course they, Ashton, his character is able to help him out, and Bernie Mac and vice versa, and that was that. A little game respect game. Everybody goes home happy.
Texas Pete, do you like going home happy? And he's gone. Like clockwork. I mean, for those of you who saw that live, clip that, chat.
We're 20 minutes in. Thank God Clark joined.
Dude,
Texas
Pete looks so excited. He looks so excited to say something. And immediately, as soon as he was about to say something, he was gone. So anyways, Mr. Jones, you may now ask me a question.
Well, yeah, just what the fuck is going on in this Iowa game, man?
I don't know, dude. I'm trying to do a pod.
Well, I got a bet out.
Should we break the fourth wall? All right, let's do a segment called Listener Callback.
Okay, let's do it.
We'll start with our first call back, Mr. Marcus Topping. He left us a voicemail last week and promised we'd give him a call back. We'll see if he answers.
Yep. What's up?
Hey, man, you're on Rent Money right now.
What do you mean? Oh, currently?
Yeah.
You're coming in live, Topping.
No way
Thanks
that's
for.
true because
He can't hear you, Turner, but.
no, there's no way that's true because the game's going on still, right?
Yeah, Turner's watching it as we're recording.
There's no way. That's just not true. Oh my God. I've been packing for Vegas.
All right, well, we're recording live.
I don't know how could you prove that to me? Because I just don't believe you.
All right, you don't have to believe me, but you're speaking on speaker into my microphone.
Okay, can I hear Texas Peak? Texas Peak say something?
I would have to take you off my AirPods.
Gotcha. Oh, he's a pussy anyway. I don't really want to listen to him.
Oh my God.
What the fuck?
I got a what the fuck out of Texas Pete and a laugh out of running back Jones.
I mean, he's just not a true Cubs fan. I don't really.
As he's wearing a Cubs
wearing a
hat
Cubs
on
hat.
the
What the
pod.
fuck?
On the pod wearing a Cubs
No.
hat.
That's not good. That's not good.
Where do we
All
go
right,
from here? I mean,
why are you
Topping's
guys
taking
fighting?
this
We're
guy's
doing listener
taking digs
callbacks
off, like,
while
the
we
two
have,
things that
we
he
had-
knows.
yeah, sorry about that.
You're
TP.
wrong.
We
What
had
are
a
you
little
doing?
we had a little technical difficulties.
Oh my God.
Text speed
Oh,
appears to
come
be
on.
back now.
Oh, this fucking game's over. God damn it.
Dude, Feuerbach needs to walk her ass home.
I don't care as much about it as JT over there, but
Running back says Feuerbach needs to walk her ass home.
dude, she sucks.
Oh no.
Like, that's embarrassing. She's really not that good.
We need more out of the team. We need more out of the
Well,
vets.
hopefully they get him tomorrow, but they probably won't.
They're
because
just
every-
kids.
The 75 and a half
No, they're
under
not.
is just
They're
this is the
Fucking
craziest
athletes.
thing I've seen.
Anyone
in a while.
drinking in the room?
I am.
I think I'm about to pop a winter lager, Sam Adams winter lager.
All right, well that's a call
So
back to the
funny.
listeners. Chisholm, hang that shit up.
All right, we're hanging up. Thanks for checking in with us, bud.
All right, I've been an avid listener. Appreciate all that you do.
All
Good
right.
people.
Thanks, Marcus.
Bye.
All right.
Oh,
We'll get you
my
maybe
God.
next week, folks. Texas Pete, real quick, just wanted to say welcome back. And to celebrate that, I wanted to play this.
Wake him up. Wake him up. Hey,
And
Pete, how does
also-
it feel to have sabotaged the first 23 minutes of the podcast?
And also,
How
I
does
wanted
it feel
play
to be
this one.
battling technical difficulties left and right?
Okay. Well, now the episode is going to officially start. Thank you, Clark, for joining. Thank you to the listener callback. That is Marcus Topping. Texas Pete looks like he's been to the other side of the world and back, a face of bewilderment, of wonder. Now is the perfect time. We're going to talk. Let's just get to it. We'll recap the games and our picks later on. But there's been a lot weighing on Chisholm's heart this week, and it was the basically admission or invitation that was extended to the teams that are the Miami Hurricanes and the Alabama Crimson Tide over his beloved Notre Dame opt-out Irish. In fact, Chisholm thought about opting out of this podcast, but unlike the program he supports, he stood strong and is joining us today. So Chisholm, first blush, when you saw the rankings populate on that screen, were you watching that live? Were you watching the show?
Oh, it was.
Was Al Jolson watching the show with you?
No, he's in Iowa. I'm in Austin, Texas.
You're coming in a little quiet, which is concerning because I do care and want to hear what you have to say. First impression, ask Clark a similar question. First impressions or first thought when you saw Miami pop up and then, Bama popped up before them. What were you thinking?
As soon as I saw Bama at 9, I kind of knew. It was one of those moments in time where you realize what's happening as it's happening in real time, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's been played. The games are over. Committee's decided. Bama at 9 secured after they decided to keep Bama where they were, but move BYU back. If BYU also stayed where they were, Miami remains where they are. Notre Dame's in, but because Alabama is, incapable of being moved back, it's no fault to any team. It is, other than Notre Dame, it is no fault to any other, person. I will say it has gotten to a point where, as a Notre Dame fan, I don't understand what the point of a committee is prior to that one day. What was the point of dragging all of Notre Dame along into thinking for the majority of the last few weeks we're in the playoff, right? Nothing about their play indicated a drop. I understand head to head. Don't get me wrong, but there's multiple drops in rankings for a team that you instead look at Alabama playing Auburn, right? And once again, this is not me throwing shade at Alabama. I'm throwing shade at a committee that was made for TV. This is a committee that has as much credibility as they do to go on Dancing with the Stars, as they do to go on The Voice, as they do to go on America's Got Talent. They have no credibility whatsoever in my mind because of the way that they've shown their inconsistency in evaluating rankings, and in doing so in a made-for-TV fashion, like it's the fucking Hunger Games. There's no reason or justification you could give for any conference champion being moved down, but not Alabama, when I would say subjectively Alabama was beaten the worst. BYU had multiple red zone turnovers that Texas Tech had taken advantage of. If you watch football, you would understand what is happening here, and that is a whole bunch of bullshit involving the Big Ten and the SEC.
Do you think that if Virginia wins that
I wasn't
game,
done.
Notre Dame is in the playoffs?
No.
So you think Miami would have jumped Notre Dame with
if Miami and Notre Dame were head to head? If Miami and Notre Dame were head to head, they would have given Miami the nod. Because
how come they wouldn't have just ranked them ahead the week prior?
That's what I've been asking, and that's what everyone's been asking. Like, you're asking the exact same thing that every Notre Dame fan has been asking for the last few days. That's
Adam, have you ever been led on by a girl before?
Yeah.
Would you say this is a similar feeling?
Worse.
How so?
It's like being led on to the point of marriage, not just being like laid, but like the rest of your life, you'll be happy. That's how this is worse.
Pete, do you think Notre Dame deserves
the national championship streak? Notre Dame being in the playoff this year, like, this thing's up for grabs. We'll talk about it next week. But like the parity of the bracket this year is crazy. And it would have been fun to have Notre Dame in that mix, but they whether justified or unjustified, they're not in it. I'm not here to sit and talk about how they would have performed. I'm here to sit and say that based on what has happened, they need to play better. They need to go 11-1 and better every season, and they should justify that by having a cupcake schedule and playing terrible teams. Because who the fuck cares?
If I may, gentlemen.
That last part was just
welcome to the
a little bit of
podcast.
spice.
Texas
Thank you very
Pete,
much
30
for
minutes
having me. It's
in.
good to see everybody. We're back. My initial gut reaction here was, one, this really fucking sucks for our future that we put out there, because got absolutely blindsided out of that one. I don't know if people have seen the odds beforehand, but Notre Dame to not make the playoffs was like minus like 2,000 or something going into this thing, which is just ridiculous. And then, but at a high level, I think whatever the Bene Gesserit say, right? Our plans are measured in centuries. I think that's kind of what this is tied to with Notre Dame. It's the committee telling everybody, and yes, I know the head-to-head, but we're not going to get into that. I think this is the committee telling everybody that, hey, big wins absolutely matter in these situations, right? So don't think you can just front load your schedule with some non-conference games, or front load your schedule with some big games and then rattle off 10 straight and be the hottest team in football and cruise your way into the playoffs without having a marquee win that your peers in the college football playoffs have, right? That's undeniable. Notre Dame didn't have the same caliber win of any of these teams that made the playoffs, X the group of 6 guys, right? So I think this might be a way for the committee to kind of curb the sentiment of, hey, why would we schedule these aggressive, competitive non-conference games if we're just going to be punished for it down the road? That's initially what came to the top of my head, right, when I saw that they got snubbed. And I don't know, obviously there's a lot more going into it than that, but I feel like at a high level, there maybe is some type of component of that tied into this decision.
I agree. I also do think Notre Dame was playing great football, and they're probably one of the 12 best teams right now. And I think the way that Bama was treated and Miami was treated is both a condition of human involvement, which just leads to biases and expectations and influence that are outside of what college football should be. Example being, you can't let the ACC not be represented. Boom. Okay. Well, we got to put Miami in now because, that's just is what it is. And they have a reason too, right? With the head-to-head. Bama. Well, we can't just drop them out because what, Chisholm?
Hunter Yurachek.
Who's that?
Athletic director and head of the committee. Athletic director
Arkansas.
for which football?
Arkansas.
Oh, the football program that after Notre Dame beat 52-13 had to do what?
Fire his head coach.
Oh my God. No ill will against Notre Dame there.
Yeah. But, all those things are factors. And I can sit here and say, I think Notre Dame should be in over Bama. I think that truly, I believe that. And I think Chisholm does too. And I think Chisholm's over here trying to play it cool, trying to be like, maybe we should have won 11 games. That's not the propaganda he's been spitting on this podcast for the last 8 weeks, talking about if Notre Dame wins out, bringing on Al Jolson just to proof it out and say, if Notre Dame wins out, we're going to be in lock us in. We're playing better football than any other team in the country. It's just classic Chisholm over here trying to just be really cool, nonchalant. But I know he doesn't actually feel that way at all. He's a raging lunatic inside, and I can't let him sit here and just try and act like everything's peaches, dude.
It's not. I'm dead inside.
And that's okay.
That
this is a
hear?
forum. This is a safe space, Chisholm. We're not here to put you down. We're here to, pick you up.
Do you want me to go fucking penis head on this and start crying? I'm not gonna do that.
If that'll help you recover, man, we're all here. We're here for it, bro.
There's nothing to recover from. Like, we didn't make it.
Your team got shafted, man.
We did, but like someone would have had to have. Someone would have had
football,
to have.
Dude.
Someone would have had to have. That is the one thing. The one thing about college football, if you look back to when you were a kid and go to now, I feel like the one thing that's remained constant through all of it, every era, BCS, playoff, Reggie Bush, whatever the fuck, disappointment and being let down is the one thing that's remained constant through it all. And I think there's a level of suffering that you endure as a fan of a collegiate football team that is quite unlike any other pain, because you know that these are not professional athletes that you've invested this much emotion into, and you know that it's not fully mentally sane, but you still commit to it because of love of the brand, the logo, your love and affinity for the time that you had at a particular place, whatever the reason may be. I'm distraught.
Chisholm, would you say that JFK and Notre Dame are the same?
In which way?
Assassinated for the religion?
I wouldn't go so that. I don't think that JFK was assassinated for his religion necessarily. Nor do I think Notre Dame was either. I think their lack of conference may be a reason. It's not because they're Catholic, but it certainly didn't help them for sure. You know,
What are your thoughts about this new rule that's going into place, Chisholm, around Notre Dame and being ranked above a certain threshold is automatic entry into the college football playoff? Do you think that Notre Dame has traditionally been born on third base, and currently you guys are all kind of acting like, woe is me, we got the short end of the stick, when historically Notre Dame's been given and handed pretty much everything at all times, like, premier NBC coverage, being the only team remaining that's an independent, getting to play cream puff ACC schedules. Would you say that those are all true statements?
no, literally none of them are true, but keep going.
You don't believe that?
I literally, I can factually prove to you that none of the things that you just said are true. I
They
can
are
go find
not the only
articles right
independent
now.
school? Is that not factually
No.
true?
There are other independent schools, but everything
Can you
collectively
name them?
that you just said. Connecticut, UMass.
UConn.
UMass just joined a conference. Yeah, UConn.
The MAC.
Okay, Notre Dame and
All right.
UConn.
And
Okay, yes.
Army just joined a conference as well, so they're no longer independent.
It's all fun and sweet, right? But
I don't know why I'm being it. Like, here's the real problem. Can I say what the real problem is? Notre
Go
Dame's
ahead,
no
I'll tell you what
longer
the real problem
likable.
is.
Notre Dame's
Whoa,
they've
have
never
they
been.
ever been likable?
They've never been. I want to preface this, but last year was the most likable year in the history of Notre Dame. Maybe like ever. Marcus Freeman, the new juice, the new swagger, Riley Leonard, the team was pure. They were good. They were true. I think what's happening in real time, and this is for the betterment of college football, might I say, Notre Dame's becoming kind of a villain again. Notre Dame is becoming the person that people want to gang up on and hate. And as a Notre Dame fan, part of me is like, all right, like this, I don't like it. It gives me anxiety going and having to open comment sections on everything that I love and adore about a team and a school, because we love the values that a school stands for. And so because of that, we're going to be chastised for it. You're open to criticize us openly at any given time, and I need to be better about taking it. So I'll let you guys let it rip. But before anything else, I'm damn proud of this team, and I stand by them in their decision to not play in a bowl game, even though I do not agree with it. They should have played in a bowl game.
I think
you stand by them, and you think they should play. I'm just confused. Which one is it?
If I had to lean one way or the other, I'd say no, they shouldn't. But that's because I stand with the team. It's not because that's what I personally believe. I would have played it.
I think if Notre Dame could rewind, a handful of days or whatever it is, and redo their decision to opt out of their bowl game, I think they'd go back and do it differently.
Really? I would agree with that. And that's honestly, that rubbed me the wrong way. I was happy to, kind of be behind Notre Dame and talk about the martyrdom of them within the college football playoff committee. One of the many reasons why the committee's been flawed. I will never reach as radicalized as I was over that Florida State decision, which was well documented on this pod. Basically had a 4-week meltdown as they started to kind of like lay out the groundwork of like, we're going to leave them out. after Florida State won their conference championship, went undefeated, and then
13-0.
got moved down a slot. I don't think there will ever be anything as
Robbery.
drastic, robbery, like detrimental to college football, because once that decision happened, everything else that followed has all been basically,
Here it is. Yeah.
you know,
It's all the repercussions of that one decision that
I
we're
agree.
dealing with today.
And I was ready to kind of go to bat and ride in with the Fighting Irish and fight for those reasons. And what Chisholm says, it's made for TV program that has underlying metrics that they're trying to, facilitate and hit based off of different influences. And that all went out the window to me when they declined their bowl game. And they took their ball, they went home. They were not taking the trains, playing anybody and everybody, the Notre Dame way, the Newt Rockne way. No, they just quit. They gave up and they said, screw you guys. We're not going to play. I've never seen a bigger bitch out by a team that's supposed to be there. And it was actually better that Florida State showed up and got beat by 50 with all their roster opting out. Because at least they showed up and at least they were there versus what Notre Dame's doing.
What did Florida State do the year after that?
Well,
what was their record the year after that? What was their record the year after that?
Why does it matter, Chisholm?
What do you mean, why does it matter?
Had nothing to do with them playing a ball game or not.
What if they didn't?
Not correlated. Anyways, I think it's a total, very uncharacteristic move on Notre Dame's behalf, especially when they have the moral high ground in just the status of life. To go into this situation here, and you're fucking quitting, right? Is what you did. You didn't like the result of a decision, and instead of, kind of taking your medicine, still playing as needed, you have a young quarterback who would like the reps against a very solid team in a premier bowl game. You get that postseason environment. I'm sure there's players on the team that would like to develop. There's a handful of seniors, i.e. maybe Jeremiah Love, who would like to have one more, game in the Notre Dame uniform, or he would have opted out, which would make sense considering he's probably going to the draft next year. But just a good send-off, There was an unceremonious exit for the seniors that are on this roster, right? Their last game was at Stanford, and nobody fucking watched it, and they didn't even know, so they couldn't do their rituals and stuff like that. And I think it's total hogwash, honestly. You're almost giving up like the favor that's owed to you by getting snubbed here. If you would have just kind of taken your medicine and been like, all right, played out the season, did that, you'd probably get one in the back end. Like, you get a shitty call against you, they'll get a makeup call down the road eventually, no matter what that looks like.
Major hogwash. Major hogwash. The Notre Dame AD is becoming a clown of college football. Everybody else is kind of just stepping on this guy. He looks like an absolute loser. He hasn't been able to field a competitive basketball team in 10 years. Not surprising. They're only making it out of the football league because they're playing cream puffs and getting unreal booster money.
People thought he's been in the role for like 18 months maybe, but keep going.
They haven't fielded a competitive basketball team in like 10 years. Doesn't look like they're going to field one anytime soon with this guy running the show. It's an absolute clown show over there in South Bend. The blue collar, steel working, Rudy Notre Dame fan doesn't exist anymore.
Rudy would be fucking sick about this decision. I'll tell you that right now.
Coming in and out of South Bend, a bunch of pansies. And it's sad to see, a guy that on this podcast we labeled a hard-nosed, tough, never quit, super senior quarterbacks, Chisholm personified, and here he is trying to, hype up a decision to not go out on the gridiron and fucking go helmet to helmet. It's embarrassing.
The biggest laugh that I've got from this whole saga going down over the past handful of days is the business decision aspect of the boycott, saying ESPN and the powers that be and their associated partnerships snub them. So you know what? We're going to opt out. We're going to opt out so you can't make money off of us anymore. Like, that is the most ridiculous thing, right? And first of all, Notre Dame isn't even as big of a national draw as you guys think you are, right? You had one top 20 viewed game this season, and that was week 1 against Miami. You had based on average viewings, you guys were 15th. You were just above Vandy and just below South Carolina. So you don't quite have this brand that is as nationally recognized and revered as maybe it once was, or that you think it
We're
is.
gonna
And I
show them. We're
Globally.
gonna stick it
exactly.
to the
So it's like,
man.
okay,
Globally.
great, you're opting out,
Globally.
phenomenal. You're
Globally.
gonna save them money.
Globally.
We're
These
gonna
statistics
take
are
our
all
ball and
covered,
we're
Lenny.
gonna do a
These
fall
statistics are all
scrimmage.
covered. This is all encompassing. I pulled them from Nielsen. I scraped the
Globally.
data this week to go over this.
Globally.
Globally's
Ooh, American
15th in college football.
Yeah, I
Great.
love it. Ooh, yeah, we got fans in Shanghai. Shut
They
the
do.
hell up.
So I'm just saying, it's not like you're the number one draw to college football.
I'm
You're not. You know
never-
what I mean? There's going to be
No.
people watching plenty of games that are going to be here, and they're not tuning in for Notre Dame. If they happen to be on the TV, great. You know who else was in that top 20? Miami. Maybe everybody watched that Miami Notre Dame game for the Hurricanes here. Obviously, they were a much better
Hey.
team. They made the playoff this year.
Pete, maybe you missed it when Spencer Clark was on from the podcast formerly known as Box Out Boys. But we discussed it. Every single fan of a Big 12 team and an ACC team should despise Notre Dame right now. Because you know what? You're only going to get one team in every year anyways to the playoffs. So what's your
Every
reward?
team should despise Notre Dame right now. What the fuck are you talking about?
Well, even more so the schools from the Big 12 and ACC versus like the Big 10 and the SEC, where you're going to get multiple bids. The college football playoff is something that you're kind of striving for. Well, for those two, like conferences, it's basically one bid league, right? And now it's just like, hey, instead of BYU getting to go and play Indy in a nationally recognized bowl game, the bowl games continue to get deteriorated because of your guys' decision.
BYU's more deserving than Notre Dame is.
Well, BYU doesn't get to go out on the field and play ND in a nationally televised game anymore either. So,
But they wouldn't have played ND. They would have played the third strings. They would have played the backups. They would have played a different team. That does nothing for either brand. It does nothing for either brand. It does everything for a TV. It does nothing for either brand.
How does it do nothing for either brand? You're saying you're saying CJ Carr wouldn't be playing in that bowl game?
He'd
You
probably
think he would have
play
sat
half.
in the bowl game, a guy who would be coming back for the next 2 years? You don't think he would get bowl game reps in this season?
No, he'd be up 20 at half.
oh man, here we go. The classic Chiz.
BYU. All right.
Oh, dude,
But
just
we don't know.
Let it
Another
out. You're just gonna
hypothetical
hold
win.
this in.
We don't
You're just
know.
gonna get all pissy and hold this in.
Yeah.
I can
am.
see it on your face.
I'm coming for blood next year. That's all I'm going to say. This year's over. The committee made a decision. The players.
No,
for Notre
the
Dame
committee made a
season's done.
decision, but this year's over because Notre Dame took their ball and went home.
No, the team voted on it. I don't get to have a say in that. I don't want to sit here and have to defend whether or not they did. That's not my decision to make. I shouldn't have to sit here and defend
Newt
that.
Rockney's rolling in his grave.
I could give I don't know Newt Rockney from Adam.
Wow.
All right.
Wow. Who is this guy?
Like, you're rage baiting, and I'm sitting here. I'm remaining peaceful. You're rage baiting. Here's what's
I'm just
happening.
passionate. I'm a passionate.
I just think
No,
it's sad.
you're not
I'm
passionate.
about
You're
college football,
you're
and
looking
I'm
for
letting my
clips.
passion out. I'm
You
sharing
want
my
another
passion.
clip. This is
I'm
NIU
passionate
part
about
2.
Notre Dame. I'm passionate about
Everyone,
every team in college football.
everyone.
The team
no,
that you say
hate
you
Notre Dame.
support,
Just
you can't even show a little
openly-
passion, a little fire about any of it.
I've shed my tears.
I think they're adding to the problem of college football, and they're not taking the winning side, the good side, the morally sound side of these types of
would
arguments being
damn
opt
near
out.
rub
There
being
is
quitters.
no
The SEC
morally.
type villain, dude. It's
What?
like SEC
Who's
number one
winning?
villain, and then put Notre Dame in that ring, in that circle. Like
The
if
Big
I had a
Ten's worse
point-
than the SEC.
No, it's
It's
not.
the good of sport.
The
as a
bias
whole.
is on the SEC, but the Big Ten, the fact that they're in bed with them at this point, it just proves that they've become them. It's two
No, the Big
conferences
Ten will
against
be as
everyone,
bad
and the
as the
fact that
SEC
we
when they
even
start
have
rolling
conference.
when
Okay.
they start rolling out coaching talking points every day.
How many conference championship games do you watch this weekend?
9.
I watched a couple on Friday. I probably watched 7.
What
Those
about
are
it?
like that's the pinnacle of those.
I went
team
8-1
seasons.
against the spread on those games too, by the way, just to give myself a pat on the back.
You did, yeah.
You did. Phenomenal.
You did.
Some of us
I-
can't say the same.
I don't know what I went, but I'll say this.
Go ahead.
Watch them all. I watched every single one.
Let's put a closing bow on this whole piece of the episode.
I've been done to talk. Like, you guys are trying to get something out of me. I don't know what it is, but like,
yeah, I'm trying to get something out of you. It's called a show. It's called a podcast. Yeah, I would like a little bit of something out of you, a little bit of verbiage, a little bit of just discussion. Is that too much to ask?
no, I feel like I've sufficed thus far. I'm fucking heartbroken.
Okay. Well, let's move on to the championship weekend that just took place. Notre Dame was not involved. They do not play in the conference. We're going to start on Friday night. Which game do you want to talk about, Chisholm? Friday night was your night. You're Mr. Muscle. You support the little guy. You love the bowl games. And Friday night was your night. What game kind of did you take away the most? And there was one game that kind of had circled, but I know you watched all of them.
Probably the American.
Mm-hmm.
Great job by the
Yeah,
Summerall.
cool. Okay. And so those are some teams right there that had coaches that are on their way out the door, still playing, still fighting hard. I mean, 34-21. This was the one game I think we missed. Chisholm, I think you were 7-2. So we got that one out of the way. Tulane looked pretty solid. We'll talk about it next week. But just on first blush, do you think Tulane has a fighting chance here in this game this next week? Any belief? Not at
I
all?
want them to, dude. I want them to so bad, but just like football's not basketball, like
Football's not.
The variance,
and it's not
3-point
women's
ball, too,
soccer
more than anything, right?
Right. It's fucking shitty, but like everyone's about to realize how dumb making every team be in two conferences that matters is, and then having it be about conference championships for like at bid shit in the playoffs next year.
Well, yeah, we'll keep getting into it. Maybe when we talk ACC, the conferences are too big.
This is a bigger issue than the playoff. This is the issue, the conferences themselves. But I would love to unpack that with you guys in a minute. We'll get into it.
Yeah. Okay. Rehashing here. James Madison, 34-14. Troy covered. Kennesaw State beat Jacksonville State. Former home of Deion Sanders, 19-15, covered 3.5 points. Boise State ran away from UNLV, covered that game as well in the Mountain West championship. If you would have told me at the beginning of the year that we'd have two G6 schools in the college football playoff and neither of them would come from the Mountain West, I would have been shocked if you just said two G6 schools, let alone not a Mountain West representative.
Thank you. I was cranking Mountain West hog on the preseason pod, dude.
How do you feel about that? Do you feel like you didn't get a completion?
That's a swing and a miss on that one. UNLV choked on a cock. Boise State disappointed. Like, it was a weird year, but dude, credit where it's due. The American stepped up this year, big time.
100%. American was sick, but also give flowers where it's due. I think there might be a clip floating around there from a previous episode where Chisholm might have said, I wouldn't be shocked if there were two G6 schools in the playoffs. And I think we might have laughed at him. And if that's the case, if it were true, go ahead and insert it here. We'll give him his flowers and apologize because I think that was this year. Was it last year?
Here's what I will say.
It might have been last year.
This is
what
happened. I think
that's why he laughed, because it was warranted last year.
Old Chisholm said 2 years ago that we could see 4 and maybe even 5 teams from the G6.
Was it 4 or 5?
And he said that in earnest.
He said 4.
He said 4, maybe even 5. These G6 schools are here to play. When you open it up to 12 teams, you never know what's going to happen. That happened. We laughed, rightfully so. A week or two ago, both Pete and Chisholm said we might get 2 teams in this year. I laughed in their face. I did not understand the stipulations that were in play with this Duke win. I was wrong. Hand up. Did not realize that there was this loophole that, I bet the conference or the committee probably never thought would get put into place as soon as it did. So hand up there and good call on both Old Chisholm and Texas Pete's behalf. Stamp of approval, stamp of apology. 2 G6 schools are in.
Yeah.
4-5? Did I say 4-5?
4 or
You
5,
were-
you'd have to be
Dude,
fucking
you were
crazy.
you were gooning, you were maxing on G6 at the time, dude. You were
I had to be.
you were
I had to be crazy at that point.
you were
That's
off-season
insanity.
maxing on G6 schools.
Because
Dude,
two is laughable, but 4 or 5 is like, is this guy okay?
I hit you with that. I think we laughed at you, and I think you did a classic Chisholm of like, no, hear me out.
Once again, though, I'm never wrong.
Just early.
Well,
that was Friday
oh, that's
night. Which
horrifying. Notre Dame to the Pac-12. What?
All right. Then we got, Saturday, first game of the day, Texas Tech 34, BYU wagon, or BYU 7, Texas Tech's a wagon, and they are serious contenders to win the national championship. Would either of you disagree?
No, would not disagree at all. They're for real.
Nope. Don't disagree. And they have a pretty decent poll, I think, as far as
their
avoiding.
linebacking, their front 7 on defense is so fun to watch. So fun to watch.
Morton Salt, like, he's kind of got it. He's kind of got it going on.
He feels like a USC quarterback out of his habitat to me.
I kind of get that vibe from him too. Yeah. This is my first time seeing him close up. You know what I mean? Handing to him on the sidelines and stuff really often, and he's giving me that look.
I'm like, you're in the wrong habitat. What are you doing here? You shouldn't be in Lubbock. You should be in LA. Like, get the hell out of here.
This is year 5 too for him and Texas Tech.
That's crazy.
He has been through the roller coaster of Texas Tech football.
Can we?
He might.
Can we?
Go ahead.
I just was going to go off on another tangent here.
I love it.
I'll quickly finish this thought. I feel like we, as a podcast at Rent Money, Morton Salt coming back to a 5th year, a loaded Texas Tech team. This is a guy that we missed. Like, we should have had him circled at the beginning of the year. He should have been on the. I know Chisholm brought him up, but the Chisholm personified list. I wish we would give him more love as the year has gone on, and I think this Texas Tech team hasn't been talked about enough, just in terms of the story it is. Yes, I know they have a lot of money getting put into that program right now, but the fan base themselves, that's who we should be considering. Yes, awesome. They have a lot of money going in that's helping turn their program around, but let's just give some flowers and give it up to the fans, the loyal Red Raiders fans that have never seen a team like this, in their life, at least within the last decade, that has a real chance here to run the table in the playoffs. Since Crabtree. Yep.
Wait, and there's fun fact for you guys, real quick, little trivia for both of you. Who is the quarterback throwing the football to Michael Crabtree at Texas Tech?
Don't have it.
I don't know.
Graham Harrell.
Yeah.
Nice.
He threw for a lot of yards. He
did.
All right, Pete. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, recapping the games, right? Kind of a bunch of fucking stinkers, except for maybe a couple of them here. But you know what makes that worse? Is when you're just blanking across the board. And that's exactly what happened to me last weekend. I just want to get out on front of this. Hand up, it was not a good week. It was a bad week for the Texas Pete trailers. I know there's a burner account of you guys out there who always reply to our tweets. 1, we appreciate it, but 2, I let you guys down. I'm sorry. We were 2-7 at the spread last week. And just coupling the fact that these weren't necessarily the most competitive conference championship games, that just fucking stinks because it's going to be on your TV anyways, but at least make it close if you're going to be on the wrong side of it. But instead, I'm just getting blown out, and the at the spread picks were just horrendous all week. Got reminded of it throughout the group chat the entire time. We had a little challenge, a competition, if you will, between the Rent Money hosts that was over by the 5th game of the conference championship weekend. So after the noon slate on Saturday, it was chalked, which is just absolutely miserable. So stay tuned on that. There's big things in the works. We're going to be announcing it on next week's episode. Hopefully have it for you in person as well. But it just stinks, man, when you're not on the right side of anything and the games suck. Really dampers the viewing experience. But I'm sure that old Chisholm and Run-It-Back Jones had a completely different experience of conference championship weekend than I did.
No.
Yeah, it felt
not
good.
really.
It felt good to be on the right side. I'll give a shout out to our producer Frank, who is doing some behind the scenes work for us this week, and we were kind of putting more on him than we usually do. So in return, we put a $5 bet down for him between Chisholm and I on picks we agreed on. 8-1, 7-2. We went 5 for 5 and turned that $5 into 125 for producer Frank there. So that felt pretty good. Reward one of our hard working employees that does a lot for us behind the scenes at Rent Money. Maybe hit us with the clap it up. I will disagree slightly, Pete. You might be. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Cut.
Hold it, please. You might be a little jaded, Pete.
He is. No applause for Texas Pete from last weekend's performance.
Because I thought, we did strike out the first two games, right? Georgia put a whooping down, Texas Tech put a whooping down. But the last two games of the night were awesome. We got OT in the ACC championship and the Ohio State-Indiana game. I think we should talk about that one briefly.
Yep.
It wasn't a barn burner. There wasn't a lot of points scored. But for a low-scoring game, I also didn't think it was ugly. Like, it was 13-10, and it was maybe the most fun 13-10 game I've ever seen.
Ever. It was such a good game. It was exactly what we said it would be. Conservative play calling, earn it on the field, fight for your inches, get your points where you can take them, and one team came out on top.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, there was 660 yards of offense in this game, which isn't, what you would typically see in a 13-10. Both defenses were making stands. I think the takeaway for me is that, Indiana's been really well coached throughout the entire season, and they've showed that on the field. But they showed that they kind of match up with Ohio State athletically more than I was expecting to. Whether it was wide receivers making plays, the O-line working in the trenches, Mendoza, love him. Love Mendoza. Maybe we can talk about maybe our differing opinions here on his post-game speech. We are the glue, and we have the strongest glue. I love this Indiana team. Last year I was an Indiana hater. This year I'm in on the Hooj.
It's the hand movements he did while he said it. The glue.
The glue. We're the glue.
Glue.
And he does a little look.
Among the most animated post-game pressers you've probably seen this season.
He's the most animated autistic person I've ever seen in my life.
It was incredible to see that's the guy that just absolutely torched me. Obviously, his play on the field, but I will be honest, that was my first Mendoza interview that I tuned into, so I didn't know how he sounded. I didn't know how he spoke, the cadence. Yes, correct.
No, I thought
Hand
you
up it was.
knew.
No. So seeing that and the fact, at first, I was like, this is fucking horrible.
This is so great.
But after letting it sink in for a little bit, it was kind of refreshing, like the authenticity. There is a fire that's burning in there, right? There's that guy clearly loves football, which is phenomenal to see. You don't get the cookie cutter PR answers that you could, go to most of these premier quarterbacks that have been 5-star recruits since they were 15 years old, who are like media trained for this kind of thing. And the fact that he just kept on rambling too. It was awesome. Probably one of the best parts, because typically when these reporters come over, they just go for 1, 2, 3 sentences in and out. Thank you, coach. Thank God. Thank you, team. Gonna go celebrate. But no,
what can you tell us about
or glue?
What can you tell us about this guy? Well, he's just a great young man, and we every day before practice we get out there, we throw the ball, we're building trust up between each other. Dude, he went from like almost crying, like he was like on the verge of tears, to be like,
"Hoosiers are flipping champs."
Yeah, the Hoosiers are flipping champs. Having the awareness, the sense
how pure, dude. How pure. We need to
so much better than like a Hurts, right? Like Jalen Hurts giving. Like I love that too, right? Like the Philosopher's Stone interview is also pretty funny in a different way.
We played really hard. It was a good game. Versus we're the flipping champs is so like Fernando Mendoza is college football. Fernando Mendoza I would go so far as to say is the best of college football. He's the story of a guy that would not have gotten an opportunity otherwise, but thanks to the portal, thanks to the opportunities, he was able to bounce his way from somewhere to Cal to Indiana.
Mhm.
Like, this guy's story is incredible. His brother took snaps in this game, for crying out loud. Going on interviews the next day or 2 days later, talking about the massive hit that took him out of the
That was
game.
great
Like,
on the
crunch.
Pat Mack
This-
show. He was like,
Oh
"Oh,
my
great hit! It was a
God.
great hit. That's what you gotta love about football." Oh,
Like, he was
man.
trying a little too hard when he was like, yeah, that guy cracked me, like no pause. I was like, okay, Fernando, like, let's pump the brakes a little bit, buddy. Like, let's not take this too far to the extreme. But
Inside baseball, Chisholm. Went to a Bears watch party the next day. The Bears Packers game was a big game.
Yeah.
One of the, our buddies, shout out to Kevtron.
shout out Kevtron.
His girlfriend from Miami, Florida.
Shout out
Mom.
Kevtron's girlfriend.
Mom was a teacher of Fernando Mendoza's throughout high school, and his brother.
Yeah, his brother.
Yep. Said they were
What's she up to?
lovely, wonderful
Let's
kids.
get her on the pod.
She doesn't necessarily know him super personally.
All right, well, let's get
Lovely
her on the
family,
pod next week. Make a
Nicest
call.
people ever.
Make
not
a
an
call.
act. They're just a little autistic.
You both
Not to-
fixed your hair and did your hat at the same time. Make the call next week. Let's get her on the pod. I would love to hear her thoughts on Fernando and the Heisman conversation.
I mean, also great segue, Chisholm. The guy just probably won himself a Heisman with that game. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? He's minus
Yeah.
1,000 or something at the odds to take it if you can even find it on books. I mean, incredible, right? So that pretty
can't-
much settles that.
Why they invited Jeremiah Love is beyond me. Like,
He opted out of the Heisman ceremony. He's not going.
good.
hmm
Good.
That's what I heard. So, per On 3 Sports.
Dude, Notre Dame's going
not going to New
shadow
York.
mode. I kind of love this. They're going Dark Knight. Oh, I'm so excited. All right.
Because why does the
This-
Heisman matter if you're not competing for a championship? You know what I'm saying? That was his rationale.
And he's not wrong. Jaden Daniels did win one, though. Like,
It's pretty sick. Winning a
yeah.
Heisman's pretty cool. Going to New
I don't
York
think
for a
he-
Heisman ceremony is
I
pretty
don't
cool.
think he would have won it, though.
Participating in an elite bowl game, an elite New Year's bowl game is pretty cool.
Dude,
Winning your
Dark
last
Bowl
game in
is
college
not an
football career is
elite-
pretty cool.
Don't look. This isn't like they're skipping the Orange Bowl. They're skipping the fucking Pop-Tarts Bowl, dude. This is like a Nebraska
That's
bowl
tradition
game.
in sports.
No, come on. That's the
Chisholm's over
Ponchero's
here like,
burrito lift.
"Ooh, we're gonna go Dark
Go
Knight.
pump
next year.
it
It's
up.
gonna be so
You got to
nasty."
pump it up.
I saw a Notre Dame account tweet the same thing. They're like, "Oh man, Marcus Freeman's probably holed up in his office right now, already thinking about the 12 games next year." And you just cut to Marcus Freeman putting up Instagram stories in Cancun when every other G or power conference head coach is actually still with their team, getting reps in, installing offense, thinking about it as a 24/7 cycle. You got Marcus Freeman down in Cancun.
All right. Where do you want him to be?
Preferably coaching his football team
Where? There's no
in
more
South
games
Bend,
left.
Indiana.
In South Bend.
What? There's nothing in South Bend if there's no football.
Well, the way they're headed, they might lose the first game next year. If they lose the second game next year, they might as well just quit the whole season.
They're
Opt
gonna
out of the
lose to
season.
Wisconsin.
That'd be,
Yep.
honestly, that would be the best call if they lose
Yeah.
to Wisconsin week 1.
I would
Opt out.
actually. I mean, yeah, if they lose to Wisconsin, I would say fold the season. This
And
team
just
is-
call it.
Yeah, no.
Because
I
why
don't
even
wanna
play
see
the
the-
sport?
Correct.
Why
If
play?
you lose
Why
to
play sport for
Wisconsin-
the sake of playing the sport?
Remember when Notre Dame football was about, instilling values and lessons? That was
That's all they're about.
That was a day.
That's all they're about.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
That
Not
stopped
anymore.
being a thing as of a week ago.
All right. Good to know that that's your thoughts on the state of the Notre Dame football program. But
You know what else we should talk
Um,
about is the state of Michigan's football program. I mean, this is a
Worse than
developing
Notre Dame.
story.
Wild.
worse than Notre Dame, I can tell you that.
I'd much prefer my head coach to be down in Cancun than to be at an assistant's house, threatening, not only his life but his own. which sounds like a serious matter. And hope.
Oh,
Sharon,
that's the charge?
that was what happened. I think it was more or less
Allegedly.
like a wellness check type deal. So I do wish Sharon the best and hope that he's going to be okay after the
The
fallout
fall
of this.
guy.
But let's talk about it a little bit. I mean, we
The
are a college
fall
football
guy.
program. This is one of the biggest college football we're a college football program, and this is one of the biggest college football programs. So we will just initially say, despite what he might have done or hasn't done, we do wish for the best in the health of Sharon Moore. But now we can carry on and have a candid conversation. What the fuck just went down in Ann Arbor?
This shit doesn't happen in Ann Arbor. That's all I'm gonna like. Whatever's about to be said right now, Ann Arbor is as like crisp, like the signals coming out, like the Connor Stallion shit was a big deal because this shit doesn't happen in like Ann Arbor does not have scandals. They don't do like the fucking random, like they're as clean cut of a program as you can get. They literally taught the game to multiple other schools and universities in the late 1800s. This is insane.
Why don't you tell us what happened for the viewer at home that maybe isn't as in tune with like the social media hellscape that's been breaking a lot of this news?
All right,
I have no idea what the full story is.
I think I got a pretty good grasp on it, but as of taping, who knows what breaking news has come out because this all kind of dropped an hour before our production meeting today. So it came out today, right around the end of the workday, that Sharon Moore has been fired at head coach of Michigan football, right? Which in and of itself was pretty shocking, right? Out of the blue, no signals beforehand. There wasn't smoke in the air, but in deep down, you kind of always felt that he was going to be the fall guy coming out of the Harbaugh regime, right? There was obviously that big scandal, which Chisholm just alluded to. We're not going to get into that, but he was the guy that came in later, and you could kind of see that maybe he got put into that position to eventually be canned to go ahead and get their guy. But the timing of everything is weird, right? Because then you have the coaching carousel that went on that was pretty much settled with the Penn State hiring of Matt Campbell, which we talked about earlier this year. So like everybody had their guys. And then Michigan comes out, who would have had among the pick of the litter for anyone who they want, essentially wanted to get.
Right.
So then it's like, okay, what the hell is going on here? So then about an hour and a half later, this is probably about 5:30, 6 o'clock Eastern, it comes out that Sharon Moore was just arrested, or they issued a warrant for his arrest from a small town outside of Ann Arbor, that he was in custody, basically. And it's like, okay, what the hell did he do? Then 30 minutes after that, so this is about 6:30, 7 p.m. Eastern time, it comes out that he had he was cheating, he was having an affair with some type of assistant on the Michigan program. A staffer, some type of staffer on the Michigan program, and then she allegedly was pregnant. So then it's like, okay, what, guys can't have extramarital affairs anymore? Like, what are we doing here? Why is this breaking news? It happens, right?
Heard of the Clinton
but then
administration
it comes
asshole?
out that there could be some sort of, I don't want to essentially label it this, but some kind of psychotic break, and there are some, really serious, I guess, kind of things going on where he showed up to this staffer's house that he had an extramarital affair with, and maybe he had a weapon of some sort and was threatening some suicidal thoughts and stuff like that. So it's a very extremely messy situation. This is all he said, she said right now. There hasn't been an official outlet that has confirmed that portion of it, but there is confirmed that he was obviously fired, and then he was also having an affair with a staffer on the Michigan program. So I think very, very messy situation in Ann Arbor, but they cheated. They cheated with Connor Stallion. Sharon Moore cheated. Is this a trend that's going up there? I don't know, but
keep your dick in your pants, fellas.
It's an all-time Twitter day though, because everything is alleged right now. So just seeing any report that comes out is kind of funny to entertain, even though most likely it is not true. But then I got a really funny comment. So we're sharing Twitter posts back and forth about this story that's breaking out, right? And then one of my friends said, craziest story I can remember in college football. This is basically the men's version of reality TV, which is totally true. That's what sports is. And then one of my buddies, DK, said, shout out DK, this would just be another Tuesday in Oxford if Hugh Freeze was still at the helm, which is exactly right. You know what I'm saying? This wouldn't even make the front page news down in Oxford back in like 2016, 17.
Here's what I will say. It's a big job. It's a big job to fill. When you're coming in there, national championship expectations. Jerome Moore, not only was he cracking this staffer, sounded consensual by all reports. He also has a long list of people that he would like to crack, is what the reports are. If you search his Instagram, he's over 40. I don't think he knows that other people can see who he follows. It's a who's list of good looking college ladies and a bunch of only fan models. Sometimes guys are just horny, and Sharon Moore seems to be a culprit of that.
Poor dude.
Who's gonna get hired there? Chisholm, any first impressions? I mean, it's one of the top. What do you rank get jobs in America?
It's definitely a top 10.
Three maybe feels
Is 3
high.
crazy? Is 3 crazy? Right now, probably not. It's top 10. I would say
think
top
10 is
5.
fair. I feel like 5's maybe a little high too, just because
I
of
think
a few of their down years. Rich Rod and
it's
who was
right
even
there with
before Harbaugh.
Texas. It's right there with Texas in my mind.
Top 10 feels right.
I like it.
I think they're like right
like that
neck and neck with
comp,
Texas.
I like
Texas
that
and
comp.
Michigan are like the same team to me right now.
Who do you think they're going to go after? I mean, the coaching cycle has been nuts. We said it on our
It's gonna be
kind of
NFL.
review.
Brian Dable.
How about the
Yeah,
board?
you need a little bit more stability. Dable kind of gives off I might fuck a Stafford too vibes.
Yeah. But also does he? He's kind of too fat and ugly.
That's the whole
I feel like
point,
those
brother.
are the guys. Those are the guys that people tend to trust the most, but they should trust the least.
They'll
Jonah
break
Hill,
you
for
down.
example.
I don't
Jonah
get
Hill,
I
for
don't get a really
example.
trustworthy vibe out of Dable. So
I don't either. He looks like a weasel.
kind of a scumbag. Kind of a scumbag vibe. No disrespect, bro.
What do you guys think about like RJ Campiano?
You know what? I heard his name getting thrown around. It'd be a shot higher. He does have ties. He's a Michigan man. The one thing holding him back, not a super Italian culture up there in Ann Arbor.
Right.
I
They're
don't know
fairly they hate Catholics.
I don't know how receptive they'd be. They're more of a Schimbalker type university.
Yeah.
Harbaugh.
Buckler, sing like diver. Yeah, that's the type of university. Bunch of Nazis up there in Ann Arbor.
Well, that's maybe a stretch.
Is it?
I feel like it is.
I don't know. We just had a bunch of German ass last names.
No idea. Honestly, don't know what direction they're going to go. I feel like promoting internally would probably be the easiest solution, and you could kind of instill more confidence in that type of hire as opposed to bringing an external body that's not going to be the pick of the litter.
At this point,
if they go
they'll
anywhere, they
hire-
just should not go east during winter.
I was gonna say, dude, at this point, they'll just hire Ted Lasso via NBC, and it's gonna be some media brand deal, and it's just gonna be this whole fucking thing. And private equity will continue to sink their teeth into the sport we know and love.
Michigan's been one of the teams going against private equity, them and USC, which is actually, commendable.
USC, really?
Yeah, USC and Michigan.
Wow, good for them. But anyways, yeah, they'll probably
Jeff
steal
Brom,
something from someone
Kalen
else.
DeBoer, Mike
Jeff
Elko.
Brom would, dude. Brom would be sick. No way Elko's leaving A&M right now in the middle of a playoff run. And after coming back to the university and building it the last 2 years,
DeBoer needs to either go or not go. He cannot entertain
100%. Dude, I think DeBoer could crush it out at Michigan. I think he's being fed to the wolves right now at Alabama.
If I were him, I'd leave.
If I'm him, I leave.
DeBoer to Bama, and then Lane Kiffin or DeBoer to
Michigan. Lane Kiffin backs out of LSU, goes
back
to Bama.
to where the one
Would
he's
be
always
juice.
loved
Would
the
be
most.
juice.
And LSU gets screwed.
And then LSU hires
And
Biff
it's-
Poggi.
And it's all Brian Kelly's fault.
Brian
We
Kelly to
got
Michigan.
Biff back in the interim head coaching
Brian
spot.
Kelly, Michigan. Dude,
I'm hearing talks.
Brian Kelly to Michigan would make me the happiest person in the world because I fucking hate Michigan. I cannot stand them.
I think Jeff
And
Brown would be a pretty good call. Your initial.
Brown would be a great coach to
I just
put
looked up his
anywhere.
contract. It's kind of fat, but nothing that
They
can't
just
afford.
didn't Louisville just sign him to an extension like
he's
a few weeks ago.
he's tied in for 5 more years.
Dude, Michigan's got more money than they know what to do with in this
I
situation.
know.
because
That's
they're not gonna have to pay out Sharon Moore either. Like he's not gonna have to be
yeah,
paid,
because
you know.
dude, this feels like a setup on Michigan's part.
Fall guy, Pete was on it.
Pete's been on it.
Early.
You were tinfoil
Well,
hat ready to go to war on this one.
I would love to know what happened behind the scenes because the Burnerverse and like some super inside sources at Michigan have been hinting at this rumor, I guess, for an extended period of time now, where it hasn't been a complete closed circuit secret within the Michigan football universe. So it's always fascinating to see like how and when this stuff comes out. Like, was there something that happened behind the scenes in the last 2 weeks that has changed Sharon Moore's standing within the university and led to this kind of getting leaked and this coming out? It's always very fascinating. It's a Game of Thrones out there.
Sounds like a
within
pregnancy
each of these-
test is what did it.
I think the pregnancy test is what started the rumors months ago from a
Oh.
DoorDash driver.
Saw that.
Whoa, wait, this has been baking for months?
Here's what happens. I mean, yeah, apparently it's been baking for months, and apparently he DoorDashed the Plan B. Apparently other reports saying that he helped fund an abortion. Maybe the Plan B didn't work. And the DoorDasher was, the one spilling like, "Hey, I just delivered Plan B to Sharon Moore's office," which is just super unfortunate. They didn't get an Indian guy because that's like an 80% chance, and they wouldn't have really given a two shits about Sharon.
They wouldn't
Moore.
have known where they were. Yeah.
Although like maybe I should take that back. The University of Michigan and Ann Arbor as a whole have some of the highest percentage of Indian population in America. So maybe they're a little different than the ones I know in Des Moines. Maybe they're more football focused up there in Michigan. But
They like cricket, and that's fine.
Point being,
And they hate Pakistan.
Yeah, many of them do, and vice versa. That's just culture.
Kind of like how I
Nothing to
hate
speak on.
Nebraska.
Yeah, sure. You used to love Nebraska though,
But now I don't.
and you used to love Iowa.
Still do.
Now you're just Mr. Indy. Well, hey, guys, we've had a pretty fun episode. I mean, Texas Pete bailed out on us for the first 20 minutes. Old Chisholm tried to sabotage the episode because he knew we were going to come at him for Indy in a multitude of ways. Thanks, Clark, for joining us, talking Iowa State football. Anything
And
else you
being
want to get off our
handsome.
chest here? We're going to be
Clark's-
doing big... Go ahead. We're going to be doing big time, playoff talk next week. We got Bull Pick'em coming up. Playoff talk next week. We didn't really get into even the bracket alone. We're trying to save a little meat on this bone for next week. So,
But before we get there is one thing that is an annual tradition following up conference championship weekend. That's the Army-Navy game, folks. We got one game this weekend, 3:00 on Saturday. Army versus Navy. Navy is 6.5-point favorites. Total is at 38.5, which is exactly where it should be. I even think it might be 1.5 too high. Armed Forces Bowl, you know what we're doing. We're taking the under across the board, locking in under 38.5 early before it moves. Although this Navy team and this Army team, honestly, a little bit more impressive offenses as of late. So maybe going to be testing the profitable bet that has been taking the under in this matchup, but it will be on your TVs on Saturday. Make sure to tune in. We love it here at the Rent Money Podcast, so we hope you guys do too.
Go Navy.
go Army.
Go
Go
America.
That's all I had.
I think that's all we got this week. I appreciate everybody for tuning in.
Chisholm, tell us how you really feel about Notre Dame.
I already did, and I'm pretty fucking sad about it, and I don't want to think about it anymore because I'm trying to be happy. And so with that, thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next week, maybe.
coming even harder.
And don't forget. Yeah, what the hell, man? Don't forget to call your bookie and tell them that we said hi.